We're going to read a book today called Emily Brown and Father Christmas by Cressida Cowell and Neil Layton. It's from the guys who made How to Train Your Dragon. Emily Brown and Father Christmas. Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Emily Brown and an old grey rabbit named Stanley. On Christmas Eve, Emily Brown and Stanley had hung up their stockings and were reading each other a story when there was a "Ho, ho, help!" coming from outside the window. It was Father Christmas, hanging by a rope from the roof. Oh no, he fell down. "Oh, Emily Brown," cried Father Christmas. "Could you possibly call the fire brigade?" "Oh, I can do better than that," said Emily Brown, getting out her emergency rescue machine. Stanley pushed the button to on, and together they sucked Father Christmas through the window. "Oh, they saved Santa, that's nice." "Why, thank you, Emily Brown," said Father Christmas. "I don't understand how that could have happened. I'm using the very best and very latest climbing equipment." "Dropping down the chimney magically might be better," said Emily Brown. "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways." A little while later, after Emily Brown and Stanley had politely pretended to be asleep while Father Christmas filled their stockings, there was another "Ho, ho, help! Ho, ho, help!" Uh-oh. This time it was coming from the roof. "Oh, Emily Brown," cried Father Christmas. "I don't understand it, but my sleigh has broken down. It's the most up-to-date sleigh you can get. It has turbo Watsits and jet thin gummies, and I turned the switch there, but it went bang! And now it won't move." "Flying reindeer might be better," said Emily Brown. "They never break down." "Yes, but they're not very modern," said Father Christmas. "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways," said Emily Brown. "Luckily, Stanley keeps a few flying reindeer in the wild bit at the bottom of the garden just for Christmas emergencies." She's showing him how reindeer are better than engines. Emily Brown and Stanley put on their winter warmers and went down to the wild bit at the bottom of the garden to find some flying reindeer for Santa's Christmas sleigh. "Thank you, Emily Brown," said Father Christmas. "I really am most terribly grateful." "It's no problem," said Emily Brown and Stanley, waving him goodbye. "Being kind and helpful to others is what Christmas is all about." Oh, look, Santa's got the doors and he's leaving. Quite a long time later, Emily Brown and Stanley were fast asleep when they were woken by a "Ho, ho, help! Ho, ho, help!" Emily Brown and Stanley were so very, very tired. But they opened their weary eyes, and they staggered onto their sleepy feet, and they put on their winter warmers, and they struggled out into the snow. It was Father Christmas again, and he was in quite a tizzy. "Oh, Emily Brown," said Father Christmas. "These iPhones and Y-phones and flashing screens with buttons, but I find them all terribly confusing, and so far I've only got to the end of the street. And I've got to deliver all these presents to every child in the whole entire world before tomorrow morning. What am I to do?" "Oh no, he's got all the robots and the screens." Emily Brown looked at Stanley, and Stanley looked at Emily Brown. Christmas Day with no stockings. There were going to be some very disappointed children out there. It was time for some firm words. "Father Christmas," said Emily Brown very sternly, "there is only one way to do this, and that is by magic." "Magic isn't very modern," wept Father Christmas. "I don't want to be out of date and out of touch, but some children have written asking for peace to the world and sweet dreams forever, and I can't find those in any of these catalogues, and So, Father Christmas was feeling very upset. Leave this to Stanley and me, Father Christmas, said Emily Brown. All this trying to be modern has tired you out, and I think you're coming down with a nasty winter cold. So Emily Brown and Stanley tucked Father Christmas up with a cup of hot chocolate and some warm slippers in a chair in front of the fire. Stanley and I don't think you need to be up to date, Father Christmas, said Emily Brown. We love you just the way you are. Oh, that's very kind of you, sneezed Father Christmas, gently falling asleep. Okay, Stanley, said Emily Brown. This year the children in the world are depending on us. Emily Brown and Stanley took out their dream catchers and they looked at their star maps, and off they flew in Father Christmas's sleigh to deliver presents to every single child in the entire world, even though it was way past their bedtime. And they did it by magic, because it may be old-fashioned, but it's a lot quicker. When they got back, Father Christmas was fast asleep. So Emily Brown and Stanley very, very quietly put a few little presents in Father Christmas's stockings, which were hanging on the edge of the chair without waking him up. And then Emily Brown and Stanley went to bed. And a lovely old-fashioned star hung over Emily Brown's house that night, because being kind and helpful to others is what Christmas is all about. Well, that was a great story, kids. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you come back soon for more great stories that we read together. Goodbye!